Before we get started, there are 2 discs, 3 documentaries in total that may make the documentary Entities, which is almost finished, by the way, make a whole lot more sense. This is Trey Smith, and you're watching a portion of the bonus disc of the DVD Nephilim. I wish you could see that thing in real life. That is just... This one looks sharp too. Isn't that an amazing looking disc? And if you really liked the first Nephilim, there are actually 2 documentaries on this one disc. When you open the title screen, you have these 2 here. Buckle your seatbelts. We're hitting play on As It Was in the Days of Noah, right about now. Matthew 24, beginning in verse 3. Now as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, Master, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" And Jesus answered them and said, "Take heed that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, saying that I am the Christ."
Well, God, I guess you're my best friend, being as I invented you.
You believe in God, Charles?
Sure, I believe myself. Why wouldn't I? Which one?
Are you Jesus Christ?
Which Jesus? There's all kinds of Jesuses. There's a black Jesus down in Florida. He's having a good time. There's a Mexican Jesus in Mexico. I mean, there's all kinds of... There's a Jewish Jesus. I mean, Jesus, you know. There's all kinds of Jesus coming back everywhere. And nothing can stop it. It's a consciousness that lives in your mind.
Satan gave me this mess. I mean, it's a lie of the devil. I shouldn't have said that. And will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that your hearts are not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Everything just listed above are commonly used as signs of the end. But what Jesus is specifically stating in this passage is that these are non-signs. For these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
Comes as the Islamist militant Al-Qaeda-affiliated group ISIS increasingly spreads its wings on the ground.
Well, I mean, at least they don't make it terribly confusing. The spirit behind that movement is: for nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in various and diverse places. All these are merely the beginning of sorrows.
The White House is now condemning the slaughter of Ethiopian Christians by ISIS.
Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake.
You may want to have the children leave the room right now. But the reason we're showing you this is to bring you the reality of Islamic terrorism.
Those are some awfully strange words for merely the son of a carpenter. But that is in no way the end of it. To the contrary, that's just where we get started. Jesus continues, verse 15. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, let whoever reads, let him understand. When Jesus says the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel, I guess we must know that he's talking about some future event. After all, you would need the temple back in Jerusalem, and Jesus himself predicted the destruction of the temple, which occurred as depicted in this scene here in 70 AD. Now wait a second, I'm pausing the bonus disc for a minute. You probably clicked on this link because you wanted to see some really spooky stuff that challenges the very boundaries of reality. Like this clip here, filmed at a UFO summonsing event in Los Angeles. And it's not just dimensional stuff, shadow people, alien summonsing, which is strangely similar to demon summonsing. But also the biological stuff is not limited to just elongated skulls that are missing the suture lines. It doesn't take much research before lots of
going on? How you doing?
begins to...
This is shit they don't tell you in church. It's about giants, Nephilim, demons, angels, all that shit.
Little man looking thing.
So we're gonna listen to this and talk about it if someone wants to.
Itself. Let's see his little leggies there. It almost looks like he's got arms. You can see his head occasionally just moving and piercing through as if he keeps form reality. It's always been that before one goes summoning, that they don't really understand.
How you doing? Where you from?
Investigate exactly it is.
What's up, everybody?
Slip its way. Yeah. It's certainly true that there's been no shortage through it.
Oh my word, that was a good one.
Both recent and past, including every age of human history, all back to the very beginning, who all seem to understand very exactly who
Listen.
on the other side of the veil. Puppet show.
This here,
Desperately crying out to give them disclosure.
is something you'll never hear them talk about in church. And it's the days of Noah. They don't tell you exactly what it was.
It's actually pretty funny to me. Now
These are people that have went through and found it.
so abundantly honest with you about everything else, right?
So let's just listen
Thinks about
for a second.
strange things from the ancient world. One thing that comes to mind are giants, like these jaws and these photographs.
We're going to listen to this a little bit. And if you got a question, we'll go through and we'll answer it. This dude's name is Trey Smith. He talks about a thing called the Gen 6 Project. It's where they go to Genesis and they pick it apart. And they found all kinds of interesting things. Stuff like this. This is about transhumanism, Nephilim, which are fallen angels that have bred with humans and created giants of all kinds and shapes and sizes and different shit. And yeah, that's what this is. We're 7 minutes in already, so I listen to this stuff all the time because I have a hard time trusting pastors because I don't think they know what they're talking about, or at least they're not honest with you about what they're telling you. So this guy's name is Trey Smith, and he's on YouTube. Look him up, listen to him, and then go to church and try and pay attention and hear what they say and what they don't tell you. So remember this.
Seen right here. These are authentic, by the way.
And these are
Perhaps all the
skulls.
strange skulls out there where Brian Forrester is in South America, who's in the bonus disc, by the way, and more of these elongated heads stretching all the way from South America
I'm gonna see how this
to
one
the
goes.
sands of ancient Egypt.
I know a
And the
lot of this, but you
video
can't argue with someone.
entities got a special body that I'd like to talk about that goes all the way back to Isis, Osiris, and Horus. This is a skull on the screen here that is curiously similar to Lloyd Pye's famous Star Child. Here's what Lloyd Pye's skull looked like, which was found in Mexico, strikingly similar to the one found recently here in Peru. It becomes more and more difficult to argue that it's some type of extreme medical anomaly when the things have friends. It's being held in the hands here of Brian Forrester, who is a friend of mine that does tours in Peru, as well as other locations, on the elongated skulls and also the megalithic structures around which strange skulls like this one with the unusual nasal passageway are found. This site at Baalbek, not dissimilar to stuff in Peru and stuff out there in ancient Egypt and other locations within Mexico, comes actually from one of Brian Forrester's tours. He's made a very strong case to me, just as he does within the Nephilim bonus disc, that stones and artifacts like this one on the screen here, it's hard for him to imagine that this was done as it's currently ascribed by the university scholars and professors. They believe that this was done by the Romans. He believes, just as he believes in many, many other cases, which he makes very strong arguments for, that very often this is the case with these archaeological sites, that they were not put together by the cultures for which they were ascribed. In this particular case, you're looking at an enormous piece of stone. Can you imagine even 100 guys this size moving that rock that he's standing on top of? Notice that the eyes are not in a standard location, and they're all very shallow. We go over this skull just a touch more within the Nephilim bonus disc, but I'd also like to talk about the DNA that's being found within a wide variety of these strange anomalies that are being found. He seems to feel, and I've certainly come to agree with him on this, that many of these sites, like the Baalbek site, are much older than they're given credit for, and the origin of the movement and the precision of these enormous megalithic stones, that at bare minimum, the intelligence behind the organization, the technology, and the knowledge to manipulate and organize, if this is how it was done, massive amounts of the local culture to achieve the site, at bare minimum, is not being given the fair credit that it deserves. And mind you, these enormous and hard to believe that it's even real skulls, not the headbound stuff that the locals did later, but the authentic stuff that is just in your face and hard to believe that what you're looking at is even real. Like this skull on the screen right here with the giant head on the back. And if there's any correlation between head size and intelligence, the authentic and genuine ones of these skulls appear to be leadership, kings, and priests at these occult centers from the ancient world. In the case of Lloyd Pye's Star Child, although you'll find a variety of reports from different opinions from those with an interest in and those who are professionals in genetics, one of the things that tends to be the same in layman's terms, or even take that far, can you imagine even 500 guys dragging that stone? Look at how far down it is to the people down there underneath. And this is just one rock, mind you, dealing with the genetics on any of these strange characters that are being unearthed, is that they're almost human plus, might be a way to describe it. Now, from a genetic perspective, you're looking at individual structures in the DNA that are from the local culture with a little something added in there to the mix. Sites like this one here at Baalbek, what you've got is you've got an ancient occult culture of some type, whichever one you wanted to argue that it was, where the Romans came in later at this particular site and they built on top of this site. Now, the Romans also used this site for occult practices to the god Jupiter, which is the same thing as the god Baal or Beelzebub or the devil. As interesting in talking about the cult of Jupiter or Zeus or Baal, which are all actually one and the same thing, Alexander the Great, depicted as statue right here on the screen, who won an unusual and actually unwinnable battle against the Persians when he went up against them, and the Greeks would become the new world dominating force from that point forward by this man right here, who would go on to conquer 90% of the known world at that time, and also die just a hair short of his 33rd birthday. Alexander's mother, Olympias, commonly told everyone that Alexander, who didn't look a lot like his father, King Philip, the one-eyed King Philip of Macedonia, she wanted to tell everyone that Alexander's true father was actually the serpent or Zeus or Jupiter, depending on what account that you read. This is an old poem of Olympia. I've since got the sizable dirty parts in the imagery. This is Jupiter that is slithering in. Notice that Jupiter is commonly depicted with the serpent as the last half of his body coming in from some other realm to seduce Olympia. Up here on top, you got the imagery of the phoenix, the same imagery that you're going to see right next to the Inky wearing sort of the wizard's hat at the top of the imagery from ancient Samaria, the opening little god that would poke up into physical reality when being summoned in at the pyramid or the ziggurat or the tower of the ziggurat of Eridu. Whether Olympia, the serpent goddess's words about the true father of her son, Alexander the Great, who seemed to have a real taste for blood and took so many unusual victories. Whether or not her words were just a clever marketing ploy for the Greeks that became legend, or if her words were based on some semblance of reality, I leave in your hands to decide. Nonetheless, I find the legend behind Alexander the Great noteworthy. Wait a second. The biological freak show from the ancient world by no means stops there. How about something just like this here, right off of the bonus disc? A skull that I'm fairly certain.
See if I can find his crap that's better than that. How's it going? We're gonna go over something. It's pretty much Sunday. It's church. So, I'm gonna have my version of church. We're gonna go over shit that they don't put in the Bible because they don't think you're smart enough to deal with it. They're too stupid. So, we're gonna listen to this and talk about it if you want. This is the book of Enoch. He's mentioned in the Bible in Genesis 6. One phrase, one paragraph, one sentence. End of subject. Well, why is he there? Let's figure that out. It's awful strange he's in there, but nobody will tell you about him. And we have his book. So we're going to hear it. It's 12 o'clock, Sunday, almost. His book takes 3.5 hours to read. Hope you ain't got nothing to do. There's going to be a lot of questions. And we're just going to listen to it from this guy here. See if we can find him. Ah, crap. I think what we're going to do is this. Okay, here we go. Now, this is 5 years ago. And
at the very beginning, as one big bang. That's what the Book of Enoch is. I'm going to do my best to take you step by step through it. Buckle your seatbelts, boys and girls. This is how the Book of Enoch starts.
Get ready to doubt your religion.
The Book of Enoch. The words of the blessing of Enoch, wherewith he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took up this parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angels showed me. And from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw. But not for this generation, but for a remote one which is for to come.
Now Enoch would be the seventh from Adam, or the great-grandfather of Noah.
Telling you what it's
so
going
if
to be
authentic,
like.
the Book of Enoch would be actually one of the oldest texts. We don't have the original, but it would be one of the oldest pieces of writing, or the oldest piece of writing actually handed down to us. I've got Dave Carrico on the phone. Now, Dave and his wife have spent decades, at least 20 years, studying occult practices and ancient rituals. In fact, psychologists, doctors use many of his books for the drawings between occult ritual abuse, ceremonial ritual abuse victims. Dave, if you're on the phone with me, can you tell me your opinion of the Book of Enoch? Is it authentic or not authentic?
My opinion of the Book of Enoch is a very high one. You cannot hold it to the level of Scripture because the manuscript evidence for the Book of Enoch wasn't preserved. But yet, that book is extremely confirming of what we know in Scripture. It is directly quoted in Scripture in the Book of Jude, and it's alluded to in the Book of Jude several other times. And the fact that Jude was Jesus' half-brother, and also the fact that the Son of Man concept, which is...
Can you hear that?
Jesus referred to himself many times, also comes from the Book of Enoch.
In those days I saw the head of days, when he seated himself upon the throne of his glory, and the books of the living were opened before him. And all his host, which is in heaven above, and his counselors stood before him. And
this is what pastors should be teaching you at this point in time in history.
The number of the righteous had been offered.
Don't even know it's in the Bible.
And at that hour the Son of Man was named in the presence of the Lord of spirits. And his name
I'll never tell you where Jesus gets a lot of the stuff he tells you.
The signs were created, before the stars of the heaven were made. His name was named before the Lord of spirits. He shall be a staff to the righteous, whereon to
even in the Catholic Bible, they won't tell you this stuff.
Now, Dave, one of the things that really gets me on the Book of Enoch is there are an eerie amount of things that happen to match up just right with historical events that happened, as well as scientific things that he should not have known. We're going to go through those. But first, Dave, the Book of Enoch starts with the insurrection of the angels, literally
it even describes hell
pouring in to our physical reality. Can you walk me through that?
Angels took him through it.
The Book of Enoch gives us a precise account of the fall of the angels and their inbreeding with human beings.
A fragment from the Book of Noah. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children.
This is one of the most fantastic insights, and it's recorded in the Bible in Genesis chapter 6. And the book of Enoch gives us details. And
What's up,
this
Venom?
isn't anything that contradicts the Word of God. But in my opinion,
This isn't typical church. This is something different. This is what they
And
want.
sent
This is what
Jazel
church
was
should
their
be.
leader, and said unto them, I fear you will not
If it
indeed
was like
agree
this,
to
I
do
don't think
this
it would
deed,
be-
and I
people
alone
would hate
shall
it as
pay the
much.
penalty of a great sin. And they all answered
Because
him
they're
and said,
actually
Let us all
filling
swear
you
an
in.
oath. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon.
So it looks here as if they taught mankind evil, lies, greed, war, battle with each other, and the sword, every twisted thing in disharmony to the order that the Most High had made according to the text.
And Enoch went and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds, and thou shalt not have toleration, nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all the works of godlessness and unrighteousness and sin which thou hast shown to men.
I don't deal with
Then I
church
went and
either.
spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find
But if you
forgiveness,
believe that
and to
God's
read their
everything everybody
petition in the
says He
presence
is,
of the Lord of heaven.
So let's recap
There's no
this
way
thing
this
real
isn't
fast. If
believable.
I'm understanding correctly, these things, these beings, they're servants in dimensions of eternity well above us.
angels were supposed to serve us.
And God himself, the creator of everything, he decides he's going to birth children. And these servants are explained to, you're going to have to, just like you serve me, you're going to have to serve my children. And Lucifer, and a third of the angels, apparently, we're not having, that ain't happening, right? And so this creates a conflict, boom, in the heavenlies. And these guys, they get subjugated. We really don't know how that, how would we know
Venom.
how that
You
works?
still in here, Venom?
But anyhow, they're to the side, and they make entrance to this place. Now, if I recollect the words of Jesus Christ, which are very critical, maybe here at this point, he says, what you bind on earth is bound in heaven, what you loose on earth is loosed in heaven. So the two are intertied in ways that we really don't understand. But we'd made some kind of a choice at the beginning, in the Garden of Eden story, to give something entrance and dominion. And these things that came in, not only are they, they're trucking in, and not only are they saying, hey, we're taking what we want here, but also, we're in charge, and we're going to have our own kids. That's what they're doing. So not only do they hate you, these things want to be you. And Enoch, they run into some kind of problem with this. They're not able to zip in and out of wherever they, however this used to work, where they could just seamlessly go in and out of somewhere. Suddenly they're running into a friction.
And from henceforth you shall not ascend into heaven unto all eternity.
If I'm understanding this, and all of a sudden, Enoch, notice you've got a good relationship with the Most High over
This is
there.
how it used to be.
I think you could put in a good word for us.
Supposedly.
And here's Enoch. He actually
I
does
honestly
it.
believe
And
that
the
back
Lord
in
said
them
unto
days, these
Michael,
people were very literal
Find
with
St.
everything
Jaza
they
and
said.
his
They were very
associates who have
specific.
united themselves with women so as to have defiled
But can
themselves
only
with
describe
them in
it
all their
as best they
uncleanness.
knew how.
And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth,
70
till the day of
generations.
judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated.
But this
And
is
days.
amazing. He's got the courage to march into this whole group of these things that have now got their own offspring. And this is what he's going to tell them.
Then I wrote out their petition, and the prayer in regard to their spirits, and their deeds individually. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thus, that your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all the days of eternity.
The flood came along, and it wiped them all out. Now there are 277 official flood stories from cultures around the world, if I'm reading the numbers correctly. History Channel claims there's 2,000, but any way you cut it, there's a bunch of flood stories, all of them with a man surviving with his family on a boat of a global flood. Take that back. All of them except one. The Sumerians claim that their gods went up and came back down after the flood. Dave, you know anything about that?
Yeah, what the Sumerians called the Anunnaki, in the Word of God they were called the Anankum, and these were another of the races of the giants that were the product of fallen angels cohabitating with human women.
And until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling, and the Lord called me with his own mouth, and said to me, Come hither, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones came to me and waked me, and he made me rise up and approach the door, and I bowed my face downwards. And he answered and said to me, and I heard his voice, Fear not, Enoch, thou righteous man and scribe of righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice. And go, say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent thee to intercede for them, you should intercede for men, and not men for you. Wherefore have you left the high, holy, and eternal heaven, and had lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons.
Now I'm reading from Numbers 13:33, which says, And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which were of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers before them. And not coincidentally, but
Go declare to the watchers of heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have taken unto themselves wives, ye have wrought great destruction on the earth, and ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin. And inasmuch as they delight themselves in their children, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see.
Following the exodus of Egypt, they were definitely, this group, the Hebrews, were definitely
some of these bones
the underdogs,
that we've dug up are 36 foot tall. The skeletons
would be on them nonetheless, leading, of course, the grand spectacle, giant battle sequence of David and Goliath.
And over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity. But mercy and peace shall ye not attain.
And then from there, Jesus Christ, who said amongst other things, Behold, I give you the power to tread on serpents. And for God so loved the world, God, the creator of the heavens and the earth, so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that none should perish, but that all, in every race, creed, color, everybody on the face of the planet Earth, none should perish, but that all should have eternal life. But simultaneous to this, in the ancient world, it appears that there was somebody bopping around from place to place with a different message.
We call them Chitauri, children of the serpent. The royal kings of Africa claim descent from serpent gods who came from the sky. In South America, the Mayans teach that their ancestors were the people of the serpent. Aztecs were said to be created by a serpent woman.
So if I'm understanding our ancient records properly, after this flood, everybody spreads out, and pyramids begin to rise all over the globe.
In America, the Hopi Indians believe sky gods came to Earth to breed with their women and referred to them as their snake brothers. The word Sioux means snakes, and Iroquois means serpents.
A lot of these cultures even go darker than that, into mass human sacrifice to their gods. And mind you, not only are they not telling these God stories like myths, but they're drawing hieroglyphic representations that are eerily similar to each other. And it's almost as if somebody was zipping back and forth. And this was their message. We're in charge, and you can thank that to the snake.
In Japan, emperors claim descent from dragon gods who came from the sky. Australian Aborigines teach of a reptilian race which lives underneath the earth and governs over men. They believe they are descendants of a race of dragon humans. China teaches the serpent queen Nukua interbred with man. India calls these reptilian gods Nagas and claim they seeded their royal families.
Now I'm trying to think where in our most ancient texts you'd find a shifty serpent-like thing talking people into stuff.
Then I said, how beautiful is the tree, and how attractive to look at. Then Raphael, the holy angel who was with me, answered me and said to me, this is the tree of wisdom, of which thy father, old in years, and thy aged mother, who were before thee, have eaten.
What we see in ancient writings is a reflection of the biblical story. And of course, in the Word of God, we have that accurate and inspired record. And we can see this throughout all the cultures of the world. We see it in their belief in giants, in their belief in dragons, the flood story in all of the cultures. And absolutely there's a connection, because this was a worldwide reality. This isn't something that happened in a corner. It's a profound piece of the history of the human race.
Special thanks to Dave Carrico as well as his wife Donna, who have spent many, many, many years studying these topics from the ancient past all the way to present day, to lay these materials in your hands, like the book that's on your screen there. That's one of Dave's many books that deal with ritual occult practices. Of course, their website is ritualabuse.org. Remember the org on the end. Ritualabuse.org, all one word. These folks put such diligence into every single part of the history and the content that goes in to those books. Please take the time to check them out. Now I'm on the phone with Robert Farrell, and Robert's done, as far as I can tell, he's the only guy on YouTube to have uploaded and actually read the entire book of Enoch online.
That's funny.
He's had millions and millions and millions of views at this point. But more than
just shit the bed.
Robert has actually studied these texts for more than 20 years.
And now, my son Methuselah, all these things I am recounting to thee, and writing down for thee. I have revealed to thee everything, and given thee books concerning all these. So preserve, my son Methuselah, the books from thy father's hand, and see that thou deliver them to the generations of the world.
But I have never run across anybody that just sees the different, I mean, like someone's eye is looking at the words of a Bible or an ancient text of any type, really. In Robert's case,
this here,
I mean, it just blew me away.
This morning and yesterday we were doing videos about, you know, I kept telling everybody there's no such thing as free will, not all this crap like that.
But also,
turned into a religious conversation. And I was like, I believe in God way more than anybody normally does. I'm a very literal individual. This is about the days of Noah. And it tells you exactly what the world was like when Noah was alive. It describes Nephilims, which are giants, the elongated skulls, Goliath, his family, Anunnaki, all that shit. These are all fallen angels that are bred with humans, and these are their offspring. And this is what a church won't tell you. This is why you go to church and ask a pastor about this stuff, he won't even answer it. He'll be really confused as to, what the fuck? And when you tell him about, well, you're not supposed to know about that. Well, why not? Because it blows them out of the water.
But what should we tell people who ask us about it, right? And Peter's thinking about it, and you know that he's read the book of Enoch just as Jude has. Jude's quoting Enoch 1:9. What's it say in Enoch?
And that's why I'm telling you, you want to straighten your thinking out a little bit and make sense of everything? Listen to this guy here. I'm not religious. I don't go to church because I don't trust them.
The angel showed me, and from them I heard everything.
Well, first, think for yourself.
For this generation, so this generation is excluded, right? But for a
somebody tells you something, check it out.
Concerning that book was never meant to be canonized, period. And Peter knew this. Just like I was telling you about the Ark of the Covenant the other day, you have this box of 3 covenants, and in the book of Hebrews, it tells you that there are 3 symbolic items in there. It's showing you the future in parables. To be understood, of course, in retrospect. Because that was the way the Ark of the Covenant was laid out. There were 3 symbolic items, right? There was the table of the law, there was Aaron's rod, which budded, and then there was the golden jar of hidden manna, right? A prefiguring of the fact that there are going to be 3 stages of revelation in God's Word. There were the tables of the law, which correspond to the Old Testament.
Yeah. Dude, I'm 46 and I still have no idea what I should be doing in life. But this is something I'm really into and I study and know a nice little bit about.
That was thrown down in front of the Egyptian magicians.
Some kind of sort of, I would like to start something kind of like a church, but not a church. You know what I'm saying?
And ate the other serpents. It was buried. When it was dug back up, it had budded or borne fruit. His rod represents Jesus Christ.
His words, if you will, were hard to understand. There was a veil over people's eyes when they listened. That veil was the flesh because they saw it on the fleshly level.
You too, man. Take it easy, dude.
Represents when the Hebrews were in the desert, the manna would come for 6 days. And on the 6th day, they would have to collect. They would get a double portion for the day of rest that was coming.
Here's what it means, basically. There is a time for us to not know the answer, and then there is a time for us to know the answer. Remember that Jesus, as the Logos, is railroaded by the religious authorities, the tried or the secular authorities, right? Tried before Pontius Pilate, who was the secular authority.
The word Logos means the Word of God. In John 1:1 it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And then down in 1:14, the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. So this place, the very fabric matrix of this place, right, coming from a larger place, God Himself became flesh and dwelt among us. That's what's being directly stated.
This is why they had to get rid of those books. This is why they had to persecute the so-called heretics. Nobody who knew this stuff could be allowed to live and to pass it on.
So the allegations against Jesus brought by His enemies were not only that He was healing people, that was their allegation, but that He was doing it on the wrong days. On all 4 accounts, and it's unheard of for any human being, especially during that time period where it's difficult even to have a piece of paper. He's covered from 4 different perspectives by 4 different men, and in all 4 accounts, He's resurrected from the dead. More than this, a man born, a physical body, born of no social class, is covered more than any king or human being that has ever lived or breathed or walked on the empires of this earth.
See what I'm saying? People run around in the early church and they can tell you just what I'm telling you now. Now imagine the scenario.
Wow. Wait a second. Let's say that again. Bottom line, the little bitty physical world is couched in this much larger spiritual reality. It's probably why it's called history. His story. And you're living a part of that. Here's what Enoch said.
And again I saw with mine eyes as I slept, and I saw the heaven above, And behold, a star fell from heaven.
The star that fell represents Lucifer, and in this vision, Enoch is going to take you from the first generation of mankind to the very last.
And behold, I saw many stars descend and cast themselves down from heaven to that first star, and they became bulls among those cattle, and they pastured with them.
So the stars that followed represents the fallen angels, a portion of which made entrance to this place,
and began to cover the cows of the oxen, and they all became pregnant, and bare elephants, camels, and asses.
They let out their privy members, and the bulls became pregnant, the elephants and the asses and these other things. These are the anomalies that the angels,
this is
fallen
where you
angels,
get dinosaurs,
gave birth to.
And I saw one of those four who had come forth first, and he seized that first star which had fallen from the heaven, and bound it hand and foot, and cast it into an abyss. And I was beholding in the vision, lo, one of those four who had come forth stoned them from heaven, and gathered and took all the great stars whose privy members were like those of horses, and bound them all hand and foot, and cast them into an abyss of the earth.
So those fallen angels get yanked up by something stronger than them, and you could view this like dimensions, right? And they get tossed into a place that is devoid off of this place, probably why they're still suctioning off of it.
This
right?
is where we get aliens.
You decide what you let in and what you broadcast out, so they're still yelping from down there.
Demons.
And the water, the darkness, and mist increased upon it. And as I looked at the height of that water had risen above the height of that enclosure, and was streaming over that enclosure, and it stood upon the earth. And all the cattle of that enclosure were gathered together, until I saw how they sank, and were swallowed up, and perished in that water. But that vessel floated on the water, while all the oxen and elephants and camels and asses sank to the bottom with all the animals, so that I could no longer see them, and they were not able to escape, but perished and sank into the depths.
So that's the flood and the ark. It takes everything down to zero, wipes them all out.
Then the water began to run down into these, till the earth became visible. But that vessel settled on the earth, and the darkness retired, and light appeared. But that white bull which had become a man came out of that vessel, and the 3 bulls with him.
That's Noah, the white bull, and his 3 baby bulls, so his 3 sons. They go out from the ark.
And one of those 3 was white like that bull, and one of them was red as blood, and one black, and that white bull departed from them. And they began to bring forth beasts in the field, and birds, so that there arose different generations, tigers, wolves, dogs, hyenas, wild boars, foxes, squirrels, swine, falcons, vultures, kites, eagles, and ravens.
And then from the bulls, the sons of Noah, you have all of these different cultures that spin off, these different animal types.
And they began to bite one another. But that white bull which was born amongst them begat a wild ass, and white bull with it.
Now from the mix of the mess of cultures and animals that came forth, you have another white bull that comes forth. That's Abraham.
And the wild asses multiplied. But that white bull which was born from him begat a black wild boar and a white sheep. And the former begat many boars, but that sheep begat 12 sheep.
The white bull, Abraham, goes Isaac, Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, right? And he has 12 baby sheep, and those are the sons of Israel.
And when those 12 sheep had grown, they gave up one of them to the asses, and those asses again gave up that sheep to the wolves. And that sheep grew up among the wolves. And the Lord brought the 11 sheep to live with it, and to pasture with it among the wolves. And they multiplied, and became many flocks of sheep.
That text is so awesome. If we were to keep reading, it would take us straight through Jesus Christ, the Son of Man, the Lord of the sheep, the one for whom salvation comes not only to the righteous before his coming, but also all those afterwards.
And the spirit of those who have fallen asleep in righteousness. And he shall judge the secret things, and none shall be able to utter a lying word before him. For he is the elect one before the Lord of spirits, yet through his name they shall be saved.
Ultimately leading to the end when all of the different wild animals and things that are running loose, those that sought righteousness, the elect, all become white bulls before the Holy of Holies, the Most High. Special thanks to Robert Farrell for reading that entire text online.
And in those days shall the mountains leap like rams, and the hills also shall skip like rams satisfied with milk, and the faces of all the angels in heaven shall be lighted up with joy, and the earth shall rejoice.
Robert, actually, his backstory is he used to actually be an atheist until he got a hold of some of these ancient documents and was looking at them. His website is scripturaltruth.com. So that's scriptural with a dash truth.com. Please go over and check him out. I've got on the phone with me Dr. Walt Brown. Dr. Walt Brown is the author of the book In the Beginning. This is a literal textbook, just page after page after page of illustrated sciences. Sold hundreds of thousands of copies of this book, but more than that, Walt Brown has spent about 40 years, maybe more than this, of his life studying the flood account. Dr. Walt Brown, I guess the question on my mind would be, is Noah's flood real?
That is correct. One humorous kind of example. The ancient Chinese language, the classical Chinese language,
right,
is built out of pictographs, little symbols that when you piece them together tells a story.
Sure, like hieroglyphs.
The story gives a word. Well, the Chinese word for boat, and I have a picture in my book, you can use it if you like. The Chinese word for boat is composed of the three symbols: 8 people or mouths, and this classical Chinese language goes back thousands of years.
We can see on our planet 17 very strange features which can now be systematically explained as a result of a cataclysmic global flood whose waters erupted from subterranean chambers with an energy release exceeding the explosion of 10 billion hydrogen bombs. This explanation shows us just how rapidly major mountains formed. It explains the coal and oil deposits, the rapid continental drift, why on the ocean floor there are huge trenches and hundreds of canyons and volcanoes. It explains the formation of the layered strata and most of the fossils, the frozen mammoths, and major land canyons, especially the Grand Canyon. Increasing pressure in the subterranean water stretched the crust just as a balloon stretches when the pressure inside increases. Failure in the crust began with a microscopic crack which grew in both directions at about 3 miles per second. The crack, following the path of least resistance, encircled the globe in about 2 hours. As the crack raced around the Earth, the overlying rock crust opened up like a rip in a tightly stretched cloth. The subterranean water was under extreme pressure because of the weight of the 10 miles of rock pressing down on it. So the water exploded violently out of the rupture. All along this globe-encircling rupture, fountains of water jetted supersonically almost 20 miles into the atmosphere. The high-pressure fountains eroded the rock on both sides of the crack, producing huge volumes of sediments that settled out of this muddy water all over the Earth. These sediments trapped and buried plants and animals. This erosion widened the rupture. Eventually, the width was so great that the compressed rock beneath the subterranean chamber sprung upward, giving birth to the mid-oceanic ridge that wraps around the Earth like the seam of a baseball, and buckled. The portions of the hydroplate that buckled down formed ocean trenches. Those that buckled upward formed mountains. This is why the major mountain chains are parallel to the oceanic ridges from which they slid.
That's called hydroplate theory that he was just discussing there. And at first, when that was proposed 15, 20 years ago to the scientific geological community, they were very resistant. Well, it disagreed with the models that they had already given a thumbs up. But it is true, it does appear to be true, that there have been discovery after discovery, as fate and coincidence would have it, that might tend to favor Dr. Brown's hydroplate.
Having served as director of one of the United States Defense Department's major research and development laboratories, Dr. Walter Brown comes with an impressive list of credentials.
This is the question that stops most scientific investigators dead in their tracks. Yet the hydroplate theory makes the answer obvious. As the hydroplates crashed, they thickened and rose out of the water, forcing the floodwaters over the continents to recede. Simultaneously, upward surging subterranean water was choked off. As the floodwater drained off the continents, every continental basin was left brimful of water, producing many post-flood lakes.
Scientists are also scratching their heads over another recent discovery. On the Kola Peninsula in northern Russia, they have created the world's deepest hole, extending to a depth of 7.5 miles. At this depth, what they expected to find was a layer of basalt, Earth's most common type of volcanic rock. What they actually discovered was something entirely different.
The hole didn't reach the basalt underlying the granite continents, but to everyone's surprise, they did reach hot, salty water flowing through crushed granite.
Special thanks to Dr. Walt Brown, who took a few minutes of his time to talk to me. It was very much an honor. I've actually owned 2 copies of his book, In the Beginning, and would highly recommend it. The thing is fantastic. Pretty certain that you're going to agree that I saved the very best for last in this video. I wouldn't have it any other way than to end this God in a nutshell with the words from the ancient texts of the Book of Enoch.
And after some days, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech, and she became pregnant by him and bore a son. And his body was white as snow, and red as the blooming of a rose. And the hair of his head and his long locks were white as wool, and his eyes beautiful. And when he opened his eyes, he lighted up the whole house like the sun. And the whole house was very bright. And thereupon he arose in the hands of the midwife, opened his mouth, and conversed with the Lord of righteousness. And his father Lamech was afraid of him, and fled, and came to his father Methuselah. And he said unto him, I have begotten a strange son, diverse from and unlike man, and resembling the sons of God in heaven. And his nature is different, and he is not like us. And behold, I have come to thee, that thou mayest make known to me the truth. And I, Enoch, answered and said to him, The Lord will do a new thing on the earth, and this I have already seen in a vision. Yea, there shall come a great destruction over the whole earth, and there shall be a deluge. And this son who has been born unto you shall be left on the earth, and his 3 children shall be saved with him. When all mankind that are on the earth shall die, he and his son shall be saved. And now make known to thy son Lamech that he who has been born to him is in truth his son, and call his name Noah.
I told you it ended good. Update on the Theory of Everything book. I'm trying to have that ready in time for Christmas 2012. Of course, before then, Book Thieves is available, the true story of the time when I committed a safe robbery on the television pastor Mike Murdoch in 1999. Grand testament to the fact that people can change. What? Don't look at me like that, like you're a perfect angel. Tuck some clips in the back of this video about that embarrassing time period in my life and the safe robbery of the television pastor, as well as, if you look down there on the bottom of your screen.
See. Yeah, this might be it. Maybe this is it. Which one do I want to use?
air by digital coding, light years more sophisticated in each and every...
The skulls and artifacts in this video are authentic from sites all around the globe. Feel free to share, but please do not download and respect the copyrights herein. Viewer discretion advised.
So tell me straight, Rabbi, have any powerful people attempted to bury this knowledge?
I tried to figure out where was the disconnect in history.
This video is about the Nephilim, a mystery that goes back even further than Babylon. Enjoy the ride. Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God went in to the daughters of men and bore children by them. These were the mighty ones of old, famous warriors of ancient times.
If all the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd century, and then even the early Jewish commentators all stood on the same ground with this, why is there such a disconnect? I researched something interesting. There was a second council in Constantinople from the early Roman Church. This was in 553.
Right.
They decreed that the teachings of Origen, an early church writer, on the subject of heresy to be heresy.
This guy here was found in Peru. And here's a little baby one from Peru. Take a look at that right there. Look at the little fingers on that going up that long head. And this, of course, is Siberia, Russia.
This is where the early church fathers started. And if you take something here really interesting, they go really far with this.
Here we go.
The Book of Enoch. The words of the blessing of Enoch, the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he took up this parable and said, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in the heavens, which the angels showed me. And from them I heard everything, and from them I understood as I saw. But not for this generation, but for remotion which is forthcome. Concerning the elect, I said, and took up my parable concerning them. The Holy Great One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread upon the earth, even on Mount Sinai, and appear from his camp, and appear in the strength of his might from the heaven of heavens. And all shall be smitten with fear, and the watchers shall quake, and great fear and trembling shall seize them unto the ends of the earth. And the high mountain shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be made low, and shall melt like wax before the flame. And the earth shall be wholly rent and sunder, and all that is upon the earth shall perish, and there shall be a judgment upon all men. But with the righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be upon them. And they shall all belong to God, and they shall be prospered, and they shall all be blessed. And he will help them all, and light shall appear unto them, and he will make peace with them. And behold, he cometh with 10,000s of his holy ones to execute judgment upon all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Observe ye everything that takes place in the heaven, how they do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in the heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and transgress not against their appointed order. Behold ye the earth, and give heed to the things which take place upon it from first to last, how steadfast they are, how none of the things upon the earth change, but all the works of God appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water and clouds and dew, and rain lie upon it. Observe and see how in the winter all the trees seem as though they had withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees which do not lose their foliage, but retain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years, till the new comes. And again, observe ye the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth, over against it, and you seek shade and shelter by reason of the heat of the sun. And the earth also burns with glowing heat, and so you cannot tread on the earth, or on a rock, by reason of its heat. Observe ye how the trees cover themselves with green leaves and bear fruit. Wherefore give ye heed, and know with regard to all his works, and recognize how he that liveth forever hath made them so. And all his works go on thus from year to year forever, and all the tasks which they accomplish for him, and their tasks change not, but according as God hath ordained, so it is done. And behold how the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish and change not their tasks from his commandments. But ye have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of the Lord. But ye have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your impure mouths against his greatness. O ye hard-hearted, ye shall find no peace. Therefore shall you execrate your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied in eternal execration, and ye shall find no mercy. In those days ye shall make your names an eternal execration unto all the righteous, and by you shall all who curse, and all the sinners and godless shall imprecate by you. And for you, the godless, there shall be a curse, and all the shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness of sins, and every mercy and peace and forbearance. There shall be salvation unto them, a goodly light. And for all of you sinners there shall be no salvation, but on you shall abide a curse. But for the elect there shall be light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. And then there shall be bestowed upon the elect wisdom, and they shall all live and never again sin, either through ungodliness or through pride. But they who are wise shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die of the divine anger or wrath, but they shall complete the number of the days of their life. And their life shall be increased in peace, and the years of their joy shall be multiplied in eternal gladness and peace, all the days of their life. A fragment from the book of Noah. And it came to pass, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And Simjaza was their leader, and said unto them, I fear you will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by mutual imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared on the summit of Mount Hermon, and they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And these are the names of their leaders: Simeazaz their leader, Arakiba, Ramael, Kokabeel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Danel, Ezekiel, Barakihal, Asael, Almaros, Batareel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samsapeel, Satarel, Turel, Jomjael, Sarael. These are the chiefs of tens. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them, and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds, and beasts, and reptiles, and fish, and to devour one another's flesh, and to drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. And Azazel taught men to make swords, and knives, and shields, and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets, and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Simjaza taught enchantments and root cuttings, Armoros the resolving of enchantments, Barakihal taught astrology, Kokabel the constellations, Ezekiel the knowledge of the clouds, Arakiel the signs of the earth, Shamsiel the signs of the sun, and Sariel the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven.
We're out of time, believe.
And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, The earth, made without inhabitant, cries the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, Bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou, and all things are naked and open in thy sight. And thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel has done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Simjaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates, and they have gone unto the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven, and their lamentations have ascended, and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass, and thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them, and thou dost not say to us what we are to do to them in regard to these. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go to Noah, and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole world will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael, and cast him therein. And place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever. And cover his face, that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire. And heal the earth, which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have. And no request that their fathers make of thee shall be granted unto them on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, Go, bind Simjaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations, and destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear. How you doing? A blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all the righteous escape, and shall live till they beget thousands of children, and all the days of their youth in their old age shall be completed in peace. And then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all be planted with trees, and be full of blessing, and all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure of it shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olive shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all uncleanness that is wrought upon the earth, destroy from off the earth. And all the children of men shall become righteous, and all nations shall offer adoration and praise me, and all shall worship me. And the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment, and I will never again send them upon it from generation to generation forever. And in those days I will open the store chambers of blessing which are in the heaven, so as to send them down upon the earth over the work and labor of the children of men. And truth and peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world, and throughout all the generations of men. End of the fragment of Noah. Book of Enoch. Before these things Enoch was hidden, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he abode, and what had become of him, and his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty, and the King of the ages, and lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go declare to the watchers of heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives. Ye have wrought great destruction on the earth, and ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin. And inasmuch as they delight themselves in their children, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity. But mercy and peace shall ye not attain. And Enoch went and said, Azazel, thou shalt have no peace. A severe sentence has gone forth against thee to put thee in bonds, and thou shalt not have toleration, nor request granted to thee, because of the unrighteousness which thou hast taught, and because of all the works of godlessness and unrighteousness and sin which thou hast shown to men. Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they besought me to draw up a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven. For from thenceforward they could not speak with him, nor lift up their eyes to heaven for shame of their sins for which they had been condemned. Then I wrote out their petition, and the prayer in regard to their spirits, and their deeds individually, and in regard to their requests, that they should have forgiveness and length. And I went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the south of the west of Hermon. And I read their petition till I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me, and visions fell down upon me. And I saw visions of chastisement, and a voice came bidding me to tell it to the sons of heaven, and reprimand them. And when I awaked, I came unto them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping in Abel's-Gel, which is between Lebanon and Seneser, with their faces covered.
It's not
and I recounted before them
scripture.
all
It's
the
a description
visions
of
which
the
I had
days of
seen in
Noah.
sleep. And I began to speak the words of righteousness, and to reprimand the heavenly watchers. The book of the words of righteousness, and of the reprimand of the eternal watchers, in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One in that vision. I saw in my sleep what I will now say with the tongue of flesh, and with the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to men to converse therewith, and understand with the heart. As he has created and given to man the power of understanding,
I don't go to church. This is what I do.
So hath he created me also, and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared thus, that your petition will not be granted unto you throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed upon you.
For the
your petition will not be granted unto you.
fallen angels and the Nephilims.
You shall not ascend into heaven unto all eternity, and in bonds of the earth the decree has gone forth to bind you for all the days of the world. And that previously you shall have seen the destruction of your beloved sons, and ye shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. And your petition on their behalf shall not be granted, nor yet on your own, even though you weep and pray and speak all the words contained in the writing which I have written. And the vision was shown to me thus. Behold, in the vision clouds invited me, and a mist summoned me, and the course of the stars and the lightning sped and hastened me, and the winds in the vision caused me to fly and lifted me upward, and bore me into heaven. And I went in till I drew nigh to a wall which is built of crystals and surrounded by tongues of fire. And it began to affright me. And I went into the tongues of fire and drew near to a large house which was built of crystals. And the walls of the house were like a tessellated floor made of crystals. And its groundwork was of crystal. And its ceiling was like the path of the stars. And
I
the
read things that are in the Bible that aren't holy, like Enoch. He's there, but this is his book. This is what he wrote.
A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its portals blazed with fire. And I entered into that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. And there were no delights of life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling gat hold upon me. And as I quaked and trembled, I fell upon my face. And I beheld a vision, and lo, there was a second house, greater than the former, and the entire portal stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire, and in every respect it so excelled in splendor and magnificence and extent that I cannot describe to you its splendor and its extent. And its floor was of fire, and above it were lightnings in the path of the stars, and its ceiling was also of flaming fire. And I looked and saw therein a lofty throne, and its appearance was as crystal, and the wheels thereof as the shining sun. And there was the vision of cherubim, and from underneath the throne came streams of flaming fire, so that I could not look thereon. And the great glory sat thereon, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun, and was whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter, and could behold his face by reason of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The flaming fire was round about him, and a great fire stood before him, and none around could draw nigh him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. yet he needed no counselor. And the most holy ones were nigh to him, and did not leave by night, nor depart from him. And until then I had been prostrate on my face, trembling, and the Lord called me with his own mouth, and said to me, Come hither, Enoch, and hear my word. And one of the holy ones came to me and waked me, and he made me rise up and approach the door, and I bowed my face downwards. And he answered and said to me, and I heard his voice, Fear not, Enoch, thou righteous man, and scribe of righteousness. Approach hither and hear my voice. And go, say to the watchers of heaven, who have sent thee to intercede for them. You should intercede for men, and not men for you.
So the petition of the Nephilim and the angels.
Holy and eternal
he showed them where they were going to go.
Lain with women and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken to yourselves wives, and done like the children of earth, and begotten giants as your sons. And though you are holy, spiritual, living the eternal life, you have defiled yourselves with the blood of women, and have begotten children with the blood of flesh. And as the children of men have lusted after flesh and blood, as those also do who die and perish. Therefore have I given them wives also, that they might impregnate them and beget children by them, that thus nothing might be wanting to them on earth. But you were formerly spiritual, living the eternal life, and immortal for all generations of the world. And therefore I have not appointed wives for you. As for the spiritual ones of heaven, in heaven is their dwelling. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies.
They're all demons.
Because they are born from men, and from the holy watchers is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. As for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of the earth, which were born upon the earth, on the earth shall be their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men, and against the women, because they have proceeded from them. From the days of the slaughter and destruction and death of the giants, from the souls of whose flesh the spirits, having gone forth, shall destroy without incurring judgment. Thus shall they destroy until the day of the consummation, the great judgment in which the age shall be consummated, over the watchers and the godless, yea, shall be wholly consummated. And now as to the watchers who have sent thee to intercede for them, who had been aforetime in heaven, say to them, You have been in heaven, but all the mysteries had not yet been revealed to you, and you knew worthless ones. And these, in your hardness of hearts, you have made known to the women. And through these mysteries, women and men work much evil on earth. Say to them, therefore, You have no peace. And they took and brought me to a place in which those who were there were like flaming fire. And when they wished, they appeared as men. And they brought me to a place of darkness, and to a mountain, the point of whose summit reached to heaven. And I saw the places of the luminaries, and the treasuries of the stars, and of the thunder, and in the uttermost depths, where were a fiery bow, and arrows, and a quiver, and a fiery sword.
He just
and all
described
the
Olympus, a mountain that extends to
the
heaven.
living waters, and to the fire of the west, which receives every setting of the sun. And I came to a river of fire, in which the fire flows like water, and discharges itself into a great sea towards the west. And I saw the great rivers, and came to the great river, and to the great darkness, and went to the place where no flesh walks. I saw the mountains of the darkness of winter, and the place whence all the waters of the deep flow. I saw the mouths of all the rivers, and of the earth, and the mouth of the deep. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he has furnished them with the whole creation, and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth, I saw the four winds which bear the earth and the firmament of heaven. And I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven, and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of heaven. I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the paths of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of heaven above. And I proceeded and saw a place which burns day and night, where there are 7 mountains of magnificent stones, 3 towards the east, and 3 towards the south. And as for those towards the east, one was of a colored stone, and one of a pearl, and one of a jacinth, and those towards the south of red stone. But the middle one reached to heaven like the throne of God, of alabaster, and the summit of the throne was of sapphire, and I saw a flaming fire. And beyond these mountains is a region at the end of the great earth. There the heavens were completed. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure alike towards the height and towards the depth. And beyond that abyss I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it, and there was no water upon it, and no birds. But it was a waste and horrible place. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them, and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. And Uriel said to me, Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged till they are made an end of. And the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. And I, Enoch, alone saw the vision,
Sirens.
at the end of
It's
all
another
things,
religion that
and
believes
no
in those.
man shall see as I have seen. And these are the names of the holy angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels, who is over the world and over Tartarus. Raphael, one of the holy angels, who is over the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels, who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. Michael, one of the holy angels, to wit, he that is set over the best part of mankind and over chaos. Sarachael, one of the holy angels, who is set over the spirits, who sin in the spirit. Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who is over paradise, and the serpents, and the cherubim. Remiel, one of the holy angels, whom God set over those who rise. And I proceeded to where things were chaotic, and I saw there something horrible. I saw neither a heaven above nor a firmly founded earth, but a place chaotic and horrible. And there I saw 7 stars of the heaven bound together in it, like great mountains and burning with fire. Then I said, For what sin are they bound? And on what account have they been cast in hither? Then said Uriel, one of the holy angels, who was with me, and was chief over them, and said, Enoch, why dost thou ask, and why art thou eager for the truth? These are the number of the stars of heaven, which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord, and are bound here till 10,000 years. The time entailed by their sins are consummated. And from thence I went to another place, which was still more horrible than the former, and I saw a horrible thing. A great fire there which burnt and blazed, and the place was cleft as far as the abyss, being full of great descending columns of fire. Neither its extent or magnitude could I see, nor could I conjecture. Then I said, How fearful is the place, and how terrible to look upon! Then Uriel answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, Enoch, why hast thou such fear and affright? And I answered, Because of this fearful place, and because of the spectacle of the pain. And he said unto me, This place is the prison of the angels, and here they will be imprisoned forever. And thence I went to another place, and a mountain of hard rock, and there was in it 4 hollow places, deep and wide and very smooth. How smooth are the hollow places, and deep and dark to look at! Then Raphael answered, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, These hollow places have been created for this very purpose, that the spirits of the souls of the dead should assemble therein, yea, that all the souls of the children of men should assemble here. And these places have been made to receive them till the day of their judgment, until their appointed
Catholics
period,
call purgatory.
till the period appointed, till the great judgment comes upon them. I saw the spirit
This
of a
even
dead
talked
man
about where
making suit, and his voice
the holy
went forth
ones
to
that are
heaven
dead
and
are
made
asking,
suit.
when is their
And I asked
time? When will they have
Raphael,
their
the angel who
revenge?
was with me, and I said unto him, This spirit which maketh suit, whose is it? Whose voice goeth forth and maketh suit to heaven? And he answered me, saying, This is the spirit which went forth from Abel, whom his brother Cain slew. And he makes his suit against him, till his seed is destroyed from the face of the earth, and his seed is annihilated from amongst the seed of men. Then I asked regarding it, and regarding all the hollow places, Why is one separated from the other? And he answered me and said unto me, These 3 have been made, that the spirits of the dead might be separated, and such a division has been made for the spirits of the righteous, in which there is a bright spring of water. And such has been made for the sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not been executed on them in their lifetime. Here their spirit shall be set apart in this great pain until the great day of judgment and punishment and torment of those who curse forever, and retribution for their spirits. There he shall bind them forever. You and
die,
such a division has been made
instantaneously you're judged,
their suit,
but you can't be judged.
When they were slain in the
where you're at is where
sinners.
you're charged.
Such has been made for the spirits of men who were not righteous, but sinners, who were complete in transgression. And of the transgressors they shall be companions, but their spirits shall not be slain in the day of judgment, nor shall they be raised from thence. Then I blessed the Lord of glory and said, Blessed be my Lord, the Lord of righteousness, who ruleth forever. From thence I went to another place, to the west of the ends of the earth, and I saw a burning fire which ran without resting, and paused not from its course day or night, but ran regularly. And I asked, saying, What is this which rests not? Then Raguel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me and said to me, This course of fire which thou hast seen is the fire in the west, which persecutes all the luminaries of heaven. And from thence I went to another place of the earth, and he showed me a mountain range of fire, which burned day and night. And I went beyond it and saw 7 magnificent mountains, all differing each from the other. And the stones thereof were magnificent and beautiful, magnificent as a whole, of glorious appearance and fair exterior. 3 towards the east, one founded on the other, and 3 towards the south, one upon the other,
Dragon Ball Z.
and deep and rough ravines, no one of which joined with any other. And the 7th mountain was in the midst of these, and it excelled them in height, resembling the seat of a throne. And fragrant trees encircled the throne, and amongst them was a tree such as I had never yet smelt, neither was any amongst them, nor were the others like it. It had a fragrance beyond all fragrance, and its leaves and blooms and wood wither not forever, and its fruit is beautiful, and its fruit resembles the dates of a palm. Then I said, How beautiful is this tree, and fragrant, and its leaves are fair, and its blooms are very delightful in appearance. Then answered Michael, one of the holy and honored angels who was with me, and was their leader.
And my daughter ordered it for me for Christmas.
Why dost thou ask me regarding the fragrance of the tree? And why dost thou wish to learn the truth? Then I answered him, saying, I wish to know about everything, but especially about this tree. And he answered, saying, This high mountain which thou hast seen whose summit is like the throne of God, is his throne, where the Holy Great One, the Lord of glory, the eternal King, will sit, when he shall come down to visit the earth with goodness. And as for this fragrant tree, no mortal is permitted to touch it till the great judgment, when he shall take vengeance on all and bring everything to its consummation forever. And it shall then be given to the righteous and holy. Its fruit shall be for food to the elect. It shall be transplanted to the holy place, to the temple of the Lord, the eternal King. Then shall they rejoice with joy and be glad, and into the holy place shall they enter, and its fragrance shall be in their bones, and they shall live a long life on earth, such as thy fathers lived. And in their days shall no sorrow or plague or torment or calamity touch them. Then blessed I the God of glory, the eternal King, who hath prepared such things for the righteous, and hath created them, and promised to give to them. And I went from thence to the middle of the earth, and I saw a blessed place in which there were trees with branches, abiding and blooming, of a dismembered tree. And there I saw a holy mountain, and underneath the mountain to the east there was a stream, and it flowed towards the south. And I saw towards the east another mountain higher than this, and between them a deep and narrow ravine. In it also ran a stream underneath the mountain, and to the west thereof there was another mountain, lower than the former, and of small elevation, and a ravine deep and dry between them. And another deep and dry ravine was at the extremities of the three mountains. And all the ravines were deep and narrow, being formed of hard rock, and trees were not planted upon them. And I marveled at the rocks, and I marveled at the ravine. Yea, I marveled very much. Then said I, for what object is this blessed land, which is entirely filled with trees, and this accursed valley?
I had beef pasta today.
Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered and said, this accursed valley is for those who are accursed forever. Here shall all the accursed be gathered together, who utter with their lips against the Lord unseemly words, and of his glory speak hard
things. The easiest one to make.
Here they shall be gathered together, and here shall be their place of judgment.
And it has its own
in the last days
gravy.
There shall be upon them the spectacle of the righteous judgment, in the presence of the righteous
and it
forever.
takes about 15 minutes to make.
Merciful bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. In the days of judgment over the former, they shall bless him for the mercy in accordance with which he has assigned them their lot. Then I blessed the Lord of glory, and set forth his glory, and lauded him gloriously. And thence I went towards the east, into the midst of the mountain range of the desert, and I saw a wilderness, and it was solitary, full of trees and plants, and water gushed forth from above, rushing like a copious watercourse, which flowed towards the northwest. It caused clouds of dew to ascend on every side. And thence I went to another place in the desert, and approached to the east of this mountain range. And there I saw aromatic trees exhaling the fragrance of frankincense and myrrh, and the trees also were similar to the almond tree. And beyond these I went afar to the east, and I saw another place, a valley full of water. And therein there was a tree, the color of fragrant trees, such as the mastic. And on the sides of those valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon. And beyond these I proceeded to the east. And I saw other mountains, and amongst them were groves of trees, and there flowed forth from them nectar, which is named Sarara and Galbanum. And beyond these mountains I saw another mountain, to the east of the ends of the earth, whereon were also trees, and all the trees were full of stacte, being like almond trees.
You had me with mashed potatoes and gravy. The sushi fucking killed
any fragrant odor. And after these fragrant odors, as I looked towards the north over the mountains, I saw 7 mountains full of choice nard and fragrant trees and cinnamon and pepper. And thence I went over the summits of all these mountains.
You should read.
Far towards the
you guys should listen to this whole thing one day and listen. It describes Greeks. It describes mythology.
Passed over the angels
everything.
And I came to the garden of
Describes
righteousness,
hell,
and from afar
tells you what it's
off
about,
trees more
and then tells you when you
numerous
die.
than these trees, and great.
Right.
2 trees there, very great, beautiful and glorious,
Deep fried
and
salmon
magnificent.
patties.
And the tree of knowledge, whose holy fruit they eat, and know great wisdom. That tree is in height like the fir, and its leaves are like those of the carob tree, and its fruit is like the clusters of the vine, very beautiful, and the fragrance of the tree penetrates afar. Then I said, how beautiful is the tree, and how attractive to look at. Then Raphael, the holy angel who was with me, answered me and said to me, this is the tree of wisdom, of which thy father, old in years, and thy aged mother, who were before thee, have eaten. And they learned wisdom.
The tree of life is already in heaven. That's why we'll never find it.
And they knew that they were naked, and they were driven out of the garden. And from thence I went to the ends of the earth, and saw there great beasts, and each differed from the other. And I saw birds also differing in appearance and beauty and voice, the ones differing from the other. And to the east of those beasts I saw the ends of the earth, whereon the heavens rest, and the portals of the heaven open. And I saw how the stars of heaven come forth, and I counted the portals out of which they proceeded, and wrote down all their outlets, of each individual star by itself, according to their number,
how many
and their
Dragon
names,
Balls are there?
and their courses, and their positions,
five?
and their times, and their months, as Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, showed me. He showed me all things, and wrote them down for me. Also their names he wrote for me, and their laws, and their companies. And from thence I went towards the north, to the ends of the earth. And there I saw a great and glorious device at the ends of the whole earth. And here I saw 3 portals of heaven open in the heaven. Through each of them proceeding north winds. When they blow, there is cold, hail, frost, snow, dew, and rain. And out of one portal they blow for good. But when they blow through the other 2 portals, it is with violence and affliction on the earth. And they blow with violence. And from thence I went towards the west, to the ends of the earth, and saw there 3 portals of the heaven, open such as I had seen in the east, the same number of portals, and the same number of outlets. And from thence I went to the south, to the ends of the earth, and saw there 3 open portals of the heaven. And thence there came dew, rain, and wind. And from thence I went to the east, to the ends of the heaven, and saw there 3 eastern portals of heaven open, and 3 small portals above them. Through each of these small portals pass the stars of heaven, and run their course to the west on the path which is shown to them. And as often as I saw, I blessed always the Lord of glory. And I continued to bless the Lord of glory, who has wrought great and glorious wonders, to show the greatness of his work to the angels, and to spirits, and to men, that they might praise his work and all his creation, that they might see the work of his might, and praise the great work of his hands, and bless him forever. The second vision which he saw, the vision of wisdom, which Enoch, the son of Jared, the son of Mahalalel, the son of Canaan, the son of Enos, the son of Seth, the son of Adam, saw. And this is the beginning of the words of wisdom, which I lifted up my voice to speak, and say to those which dwell on earth, hear ye men of old time, and see ye that come after, the words of the Holy One, which I will speak before the Lord of spirits. It were better to declare them only to the men of old time. But even from those that come after, we will not withhold the beginning of wisdom. Till the present day, such wisdom has never been given by the Lord of spirits, as I have received according to my insight, according to the good pleasure of the Lord of spirits, by whom the lot of eternal life has been given to me. Now 3 parables were imparted to me, and I lifted up my voice and recounted them to those that dwell on earth. The first parable. When the congregation of the righteous shall appear, and sinners shall be judged for their sins, and shall be driven from the face of the earth, and when the righteous one shall appear before the eyes of the righteous, whose elect works hang upon the Lord of spirits, and light shall appear to the righteous and the elect who dwell on the earth. Where then will be the dwelling of the sinners? And where the resting place of those who have denied the Lord of spirits? It had been good for them if they had not been born. When the secrets of the righteous shall be revealed, and the sinners judged, and the godless driven from the presence of the righteous and elect, from that time those that possess the earth shall no longer be powerful and exalted, and they shall not be able to behold the face of the holy. For the Lord of spirits has caused his light to appear on the face of the holy, righteous, and elect. Then shall the kings and the mighty perish, and be given into the hands of the righteous and holy. And thenceforward none shall seek for themselves mercy from the Lord of spirits, for their life is at an end. And it shall come to pass in those days that the elect and holy children will descend from the high heaven, and their seed will become one with the children of men. And in those days Enoch received books of zeal and wrath, and books of disquiet and expulsion. And mercy shall not be accorded to them, saith the Lord of spirits. And in those days a whirlwind carried me off from the earth, and set me down at the end of the heavens. And there I saw another vision, the dwelling places of the holy, and the resting places of the righteous. Here mine eyes saw their dwellings with his righteous angels, and their resting places with the holy. And they petitioned and interceded and prayed for the children of men. And righteousness flowed before them as water, and mercy like dew upon the earth. Thus it is amongst them forever and ever. And in that place mine eyes saw the elect one of righteousness and of faith. And I saw his dwelling place under the wings of the Lord of spirits. And righteousness shall prevail in his days, and the righteous and elect shall be without number before him forever and ever. And all the righteous and elect before him shall be as strong as fiery lights, and their mouth shall be full of blessing, and their lips extol the name of the Lord of spirits. And righteousness before him shall never fail, and uprightness shall never fail before him. There I wish to dwell, and my spirit longed for that dwelling place, and there heretofore hath been my portion. For so it has been established concerning me before the Lord of the spirits. In those days I praised and extolled the name of the Lord of spirits with blessings and praises, because he hath destined me for blessing and glory, according to the good pleasure of the Lord of spirits. For a long time my eyes regarded that place, and I blessed him and praised him, saying, Blessed is he, and may he be blessed from the beginning and forevermore. And before him there is no ceasing. He knows before the world was created what is forever, and what will be from generation unto generation. Those who sleep not bless thee. They stand before thy glory, and bless, praise, and extol, saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of spirits. He filleth the earth with spirits. And here my eyes saw all those that sleep not. And they stand before him and bless him and say, Blessed be thou, and blessed be the name of the Lord forever and ever. And my face was changed, for I could no longer behold. And after that I saw thousands of thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000. I saw a multitude beyond reckoning, who stood before the Lord of spirits, and on the four sides of the Lord of spirits were 4 presences, different from those that sleep not. And I looked at the names, for the angel that went with me made known to me their names, and showed me all the hidden things. And I heard the voices of those 4 presences, and uttered praises.
Welcome to the stream, guys.
The first voice blesses the Lord of spirits forever and ever. And the second voice I heard blessing the elect one, and the elect one that upon the Lord of spirits. And the third voice I heard pray for those who dwell on the earth, and supplicate in the name of the Lord of spirits. And I heard the fourth voice fending off the Satans, and bidding them to come before the Lord of spirits, to accuse them who dwell on the earth. After that, I asked the angel of peace who went with me, who showed me everything that is hidden. Who are these 4 presences which I have seen, and whose words I have heard and written down? He said to me, The first is Michael, the merciful and long-suffering. And the second, who was set over all the diseases and all the wounds of the children of men, is Raphael. And the third, who was set over all the powers, is Gabriel. And the fourth, who was set over the repentance unto hope of those who inherit eternal life, is named Phanuel. And these are the 4 angels of the Lord of spirits, and the 4 voices I heard in those days. And after that I saw all the secrets of the heavens, and how the kingdom is divided, and how the actions of men are weighed in the balance. And there I saw the mansions of the elect, and the mansions of the holy. And mine eyes saw there all the sinners being driven from thence, which deny the name of the Lord of spirits, and being dragged off. And they could not abide because of the punishment which proceeds from the Lord of spirits. And there mine eyes saw the secrets of the lightnings, and of the thunder, and the secrets of the winds, how they are divided to blow over the earth, and the secrets of the clouds and dew. And there I saw from whence they proceed in that place, and from whence they saturate the dusty earth. And there I saw closed chambers, out of which the winds are divided. The chamber of the hail and winds, the chamber of the mist, and of the clouds, and the cloud thereof hovers over the earth from the beginning of the world. And I saw the chambers of the sun and moon, whence they proceed, and whither they come again, and their glorious return. And how one is superior to the other, and their stately orbit, and how they do not leave their orbit, and they add nothing to their orbit, and they take nothing from it, and they keep faith with each other in accordance with the oath by which they are bound together. And first the sun goes forth and traverses his path according to the commandment of the Lord of spirits, and mighty is his name forever and ever. And after that I saw the hidden and the visible path of the moon, and she accomplishes the course of her path in that place by day and by night, the one holding a position opposite to the other before the Lord of spirits. And they give thanks and praise, and rest not, for unto them is their thanksgiving rest. For the sun changes oft for a blessing or a curse, and the course of the path of the moon is light to the righteous, and darkness to the sinners in the name of the Lord, who made a separation between the light and the darkness, and divided the spirits of men, and strengthened the spirits of the righteous, in the name of his righteousness. For no angel hinders, and no power is able to hinder. For he appoints a judge for them all, and he judges them all before him. Wisdom found no place where she might dwell. Then a dwelling place was assigned her in the heavens. Wisdom went forth to make her dwelling among the children of men, and found no dwelling place. Wisdom returned to her place, and took her seat among the angels. And unrighteousness went forth from her chambers, whom she sought not she found, and dwelt with them, as rain in a desert,
wisdom came
and
here, it's
dew on
like,
a
nah,
thirsty
ain't worth
land.
it.
And I saw other lightnings, and the stars of heaven, and I saw how he called them all by their names, and they hearkened unto him. And I saw how they are weighed in a righteous balance, according to their proportions of light. I saw the width of their spaces, and the day of their appearing, and how their revolution produces lightning. And I saw their revolution according to the number of the angels, and how they keep faith with each other. And I asked the angel who went with me, who showed me what was hidden, "What are these?" And he said to me, "The Lord of spirits has showed thee their parabolic meeting. These are the names of the holy who dwell on the earth and believe in the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever." Also, another phenomenon I saw in regard to the lightnings, how some of the stars arise and become lightnings, and cannot part with their new form. And this is the second parable, concerning those who deny the name of the dwelling of the holy ones and the Lord of spirits. And into the heaven shall they not ascend, and on the earth they shall not come. Such shall be the lot of the sinners who have denied the name of the Lord of spirits, who are thus preserved for the day of suffering and tribulation. On that day mine elect one shall sit on the throne of glory, and shall try their works,
You just
and their
don't know how to.
places of
You
rest
just ain't
shall
allowed
be
to read
innumerable.
into it because the things that
And
will
their
tell you
souls shall
what
grow
this book
strong
should be
within them
there.
when they see mine
It's
elect
not
ones,
scripture.
and those who have called upon my glorious name. Then I will cause mine elect ones to dwell among
This is a
them,
book
and I
that
will
people should
transform
read.
the heaven and make it
It
an
makes the
eternal
Bible
blessing
easier
of
to
light.
understand.
And I will transform the earth and make it a blessing. And I will cause mine elect ones to dwell upon it. But the sinners and evildoers shall not set foot thereon. For I have provided and satisfied with peace my righteous ones, and I have caused them to dwell before me. But for the sinners there is judgment impending with me, so that I shall destroy them from the face of the earth. And there I saw one who had a head of days, and his head was white like wool, and with him was another being whose countenance had the appearance of a man, and his face was full of graciousness, like one of the holy angels. And I asked the angel who went with me, and showed me all the hidden things concerning that Son of Man, who he was, and whence he was, and why he went with the head of days. And he answered and said unto me, This is the Son of Man, who hath righteousness, with whom dwelleth righteousness, and who revealeth all the treasures of that which is hidden. Because the Lord of spirits has chosen him, and whose lot hath the preeminence before the Lord of spirits in uprightness forever.
I'm trying to remember.
And this Son of Man, whom thou hast seen, shall raise up the kings and the mighty from their seats, and the strong from their thrones, and shall loosen the reins of the strong, and break the teeth of the sinners. And he shall put down the kings from their thrones and kingdoms, because they do not extol and praise him, nor humbly acknowledge whence the kingdom was bestowed upon them. And he shall put down the countenance of the strong, and shall fill them with shame. And darkness shall be their dwelling, and worms shall be their bed, and they shall have no hope of rising from their beds,
isn't really
because they do
religion.
not
This kind of
extol the name
explains
of the
all of
Lord
it
of
at once.
spirits.
This is nuts. You should
And these are
listen
they
to
who
this.
judge the
Don't
stars
think of
of
this
heaven,
as religion.
and raise their hands against the Most High, and tread upon the earth and dwell upon it. And all their deeds manifest unrighteousness.
I've had questions
and their power
with religion
rests
my
upon their
entire life.
riches, and their faith is in the gods which they have made with their hands.
I found this.
They deny
I
the
don't
name
go
of the
to
Lord of
church.
spirits, and they persecute the houses of his congregations, and the
I want to
faithful
go
who
to
hang
church to
upon the
argue
name of the
to
Lord of spirits.
hit a pastor with this shit.
And in those days shall have
You listen
ascended
to
the
this,
prayer
you
of the
hear that they
righteous,
actually lie
and
to
the
you in
blood
church.
of the
They don't know what
righteous
they're
from
saying.
the earth before the Lord of spirits. In those days the holy ones who dwell above in the heavens shall unite with one voice, and supplicate and pray, and praise and give thanks and bless the name of the Lord of spirits, on behalf of the blood of the righteous which has been shed, and that the prayer of the righteous might not be in vain before the Lord of spirits, that judgment might be done to them, and that they may not have to suffer forever. In those days I saw the head of days, when he seated himself upon the throne of his glory, and the books of the living were opened before him. And all his host, which is in heaven above, and his counselors, stood before him. And the hearts of the holy were filled with joy, because the number of the righteous had been offered. And the prayer of the righteous had been heard, and the blood of the righteous had been required before the Lord of spirits. And in that place I saw the fountain of righteousness, which was inexhaustible, and around it were many fountains of wisdom, and all the thirsty drank of them, and were filled with wisdom, and their dwellings were with the righteous and holy and elect. And at that hour the Son of Man was named in the presence of the Lord of spirits, and his name before the head of days. Yea, before the sun and the signs were created, before the stars of the heaven were made, his name was named before the Lord of spirits. He shall be a staff to the righteous, whereon to stay themselves and not fall.
Jesus.
And he shall be the light of the Gentiles, and the hope of those who are troubled of heart. All who dwell on earth shall fall down and worship before him, and will praise and bless and celebrate with song the Lord of spirits. And for this reason he has been chosen and hidden before him, before the creation of the world and forevermore. And the wisdom of the Lord of spirits hath revealed him to the holy and righteous, for he hath preserved the lot of the righteous, because they have hated and despised this world of unrighteousness, and have hated all its works and ways in the name of the Lord of spirits. For in his name they are saved, and according to his good pleasure hath it been in regard to their life. In these days, downcast in countenance shall the kings of the earth have become, and the strong who possess the land because of the works of their hands. For on the day of their anguish and affliction they shall not be able to save themselves, and I will give them over into the hands of mine elect. As straw in the fire, so shall they burn before the face of the holy. As lead in the water shall they sink before the face of the righteous, and no trace of them shall any more be found. And on the day of their affliction there shall be rest on the earth. And before them they shall fall, and not rise again. And there shall be no one to take them with his hands and raise them. For they have denied the Lord of the spirits and his anointed. The name of the Lord of spirits be blessed. For wisdom is poured out like water, and glory faileth not before him forevermore. For he is mighty in all the secrets of righteousness, and unrighteousness shall disappear as a shadow, and have no continuance. Because the elect one standeth before the Lord of spirits, and his glory is forever and ever, and his might unto all generations. And in him dwells the spirit of wisdom, the spirit which gives insight, and the spirit of understanding and of might, and the spirit of those who have fallen asleep in righteousness. And he shall judge the secret things, and none shall be able to utter a lying word before him. For he is the elect one before the Lord of spirits, according to his good pleasure. And in those days a change shall take place for the holy and elect, and the light of days shall abide upon them, and glory and honor shall turn to the holy, on the day of affliction, on which evil shall have been treasured up against the sinners. And the righteous shall be victorious in the name of the Lord of spirits. And he will cause the others to witness this, that they may repent and forego the works of their hands. They shall have no honor through the name of the Lord of spirits, yet through his word they shall be saved. And the Lord of spirits will have compassion on them, for his compassion is great. And he is righteous also in his judgment. And in the presence of his glory, unrighteousness also shall not maintain itself. At his judgment, the unrepentant shall perish before him. And from henceforth I will have no mercy on them, saith the Lord of spirits. And in those days shall the earth also give back that which has been entrusted to it. And Sheol also shall give back that which it has received, and hell shall give back that which it owes. For in those days the elect one shall arise, and he shall choose the righteous and holy from among them. For the day has drawn nigh that they should be saved. And the elect one shall in those days sit on my throne, and his mouth shall pour forth all the secrets of wisdom and counsel. For the Lord of spirits has given them to him, and hath glorified him. And in those days shall the mountains leap like rams, and the hills also shall skip like rams satisfied with milk. And the faces of all the angels in heaven shall be lighted up with joy, and the earth shall rejoice. And the righteous shall dwell upon it, and the elect shall walk thereon. And after those days, in that place where I had seen all the visions of that which is hidden, for I had been carried off in a whirlwind, and they had borne me towards the west, there mine eyes saw all the secret things of the heaven that shall be, a mountain of iron, and a mountain of copper, and a mountain of silver, and a mountain of gold, and a mountain of soft metal, and a mountain of lead. And I asked the angel who went with me, saying, What things are these which I have seen in secret? And he said unto me, All these things which thou hast seen shall serve the dominion of his anointed, that he may be potent and mighty on the earth. And that angel of peace answered, saying unto me, Wait a little, and there shall be revealed unto thee all the secret things which surround the Lord of spirits. And these mountains which thine eyes have seen, the mountain of iron, and the mountain of copper, and the mountain of silver, and the mountain of gold, and the mountain of soft metal, and the mountain of lead. All these shall be in the presence of the elect one as wax before the fire. And like the water which streams down from above upon these mountains, they shall become powerless before his feet. And it shall come to pass in those days that none shall be saved, either by gold or by silver. And none shall be able to escape. And there shall be no iron for war, nor shall one clothe oneself with a breastplate. Bronze shall be of no service, and tin shall be of no service, and shall not be esteemed, and lead shall not be desired. And all these things shall be denied and destroyed from the face of the earth, when the elect one shall appear before the face of the Lord of spirits. There mine eyes saw a deep valley with open mouths, and all who dwell on the earth, and sea and island shall bring to him gifts and presents and tokens of homage. But that deep valley shall not become full. In their hands commit lawless deeds, and the sinners devour all whom they lawlessly oppress. Yet the sinner shall be destroyed before the face of the Lord of spirits, and they shall be banished from off the face of his earth, and they shall perish forever and ever. And I saw all the angels of punishment abiding there, and preparing all the instruments of Satan. And I asked the angel of peace who went with me, For whom are they preparing these instruments? And he said unto me, They prepare these for the kings and the mighty of the earth, that they may be destroyed thereby. And after this, the righteous and elect one shall cause the house of his congregation to appear. Henceforth they shall be no more hindered in the name of the Lord of spirits. And these mountains shall not stand as the earth before his righteousness. But the hills shall be as a fountain of water, and the righteous shall have rest from the oppression of sinners. And I looked and turned to another part of the earth, and saw there a deep valley with burning fire. And they brought the kings and the mighty, and began to cast them into this deep valley. And there mine eyes saw how they made these their instruments, iron chains of immeasurable weight. And I asked the angel of peace who went with me, saying, For whom are these chains being prepared? And he said unto me, These are being prepared for the hosts of Azazel, so that they may take them and cast them into the abyss of complete condemnation. And they shall cover their jaws with rough stones, as the Lord of spirits commanded. And Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Phanuel shall take hold of them on that great day, and cast them on that day into the burning furnace, that the Lord of the spirits may take vengeance on them for their unrighteousness in becoming subject to Satan, and leading astray those who dwell on the earth. And in those days shall punishment come from the Lord of spirits, and he will open all the chambers of waters which are above the heavens, and of the fountains which are beneath the earth, and all the waters shall be joined with the waters. That which is above the heavens is the masculine, and the water which is beneath the earth is the feminine. And they shall destroy all who dwell on earth, and those who dwell under the ends of the heavens. And when they have recognized their unrighteousness which they have wrought on the earth, then by these shall they perish. And after that the head of days repented and said, In vain have I destroyed all who dwell on the earth. And he sware by his great name, Henceforth I will not do so to all who dwell on earth. And I will set a sign in the heavens, and this shall be a pledge of good faith between me and them forever, so long as heaven is above the earth. And this is in accordance with my command. When I have desired to take hold of them by the hand of the angels on the day of tribulation and pain because of this, I will cause my chastisement and my wrath to abide upon them, saith God, the Lord of spirits. Ye mighty kings who dwell on the earth, ye shall have to behold mine elect one, how he sits on the throne of his glory, and judges Azazel, and all his associates, and all his hosts in the name of the Lord of spirits.
Way more information out there.
And I saw there the hosts of the angels of punishment going, and they held scourges and chains of iron and bronze. And I asked the angel of peace who went with me, saying, To whom are these who hold the scourges going? And he said unto me, To their elect and beloved ones, that they may be cast into the chasm of the abyss of the valley. And then that valley shall be filled with their elect and beloved, and the days of their lives shall be at an end, and the days of their leading astray shall not thenceforward be reckoned. And in those days the angels shall return, and hurl themselves to the east upon the Parthians and Medes. They shall stir up the kings, so that a spirit of unrest shall come upon them, and they shall rouse them from their thrones, that they might break forth as lions from their lairs, and as hungry wolves among their flocks. And they shall go up and tread underfoot the land of his elect ones. And the land of his elect ones shall be before them a threshing floor and a highway. But the city of my righteous shall be a hindrance to their horses, and they shall begin to fight among themselves. And their right hand shall be strong against themselves, and a man shall not know his brother, nor his son his father or mother, till there be no number of corpses through their slaughter, and their punishment be not in vain. In those days Sheol shall open its jaws, and they shall be swallowed up therein. And their destruction shall be at an end. Sheol shall devour the sinners in the presence of the elect.
This is why I don't go to church.
And it came to pass after this that I saw another host of wagons and men riding thereon, and coming on the wind from the east and from the west to the south. And the noise of their wagons was heard. And when this turmoil took place, the holy ones from heaven remarked it, and the pillars of the earth were moved from their place, and the sound thereof was heard from one end of heaven to the other, in one day, and they shall all fall down and worship the Lord of spirits. And this is the end of the second parable.
And you realize
and I began to speak the third parable concerning the righteous and elect. Blessed are ye, ye righteous and elect, for glorious shall be your lot. And the righteous shall be in the light of the sun, and the elect in the light of eternal life. The days of their life shall be unending, and the days of the holy without number. And they shall seek the light, and find righteousness with the Lord of spirits. And there shall be peace to the righteous, in the name of the eternal Lord. And after this it shall be said to the holy in heaven, that they should seek out the secrets of righteousness, the heritage of faith. For it has become bright as the sun upon earth, and the darkness is past, and there shall be a light that never endeth. And to a limit of days they shall not come, for the darkness shall have been destroyed, and the light established before the Lord of spirits, and the light of uprightness established forever before the Lord of spirits.
Why am I racist?
In those days mine eyes saw the secrets of the lightnings, and of the lights, and the judgments they execute, and they lighten for a blessing or a curse, as the Lord of spirits willeth. And there I saw the secrets of the thunder, and how when it resounds above in the heaven, the sound thereof is heard. And he caused me to see the judgments executed on the earth, whether they be for well-being and blessing, or for a curse, according to the word of the Lord of spirits. And after that, all the secrets of the lights and lightnings were shown to me, and they lightened for a blessing and for satisfying. In the year 500, in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month, in the life of Enoch. In that parable, I saw how a mighty quaking made the heaven of heavens to quake, and the host of the Most High, and the angels, 1,000 thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000 were disquieted with a great disquiet. And the head of days sat on the throne of his glory, and the angels and the righteous stood around him. And a great trembling seized me, and fear took hold of me, and my loins gave way, and dissolved were my reins, and I fell upon my face. And Michael sent another angel from among the holy ones, and he raised me up. And when he had raised me up, my spirit returned, for I had not been able to endure the look of this host, and the commotion, and the quaking of the heaven. And Michael said unto me, Why art thou disquieted with such a vision? Until this day lasted the day of his mercy, and he hath been merciful and long-suffering towards those who dwell on the earth. And when the day, and the power, and the punishment, and the judgment come, which the Lord of spirits hath prepared for those who worship not the righteous law, and for those who deny the righteous judgment, And for those who take his name in vain, that day is prepared. For the elect, a covenant, but for the sinners, an inquisition. When the punishment of the Lord of spirits shall rest upon them, it shall rest in order that the punishment of the Lord of spirits may not come in vain. And it shall slay the children with their mothers, and the children with their fathers. Afterwards, the judgment shall take place according to his mercy and his patience. And on that day were two monsters parted, a female monster named Leviathan, to dwell in the abysses of the ocean, over the fountains
America's
of the waters.
Not even mentioned in the Bible.
But the male is named Behemoth, who occupied with his breast a waste wilderness named Dudain, on the east of the garden, where the elect and righteous dwell, where my grandfather was taken up, the seventh from Adam, the first man whom the Lord of spirits created. And I besought the other angel that he should show me the might of those monsters, how they were parted on one day and cast, the one into the abysses of the sea, and the other into the dry land of the wilderness. And he said to me, Thou son of man, herein thou dost seek to know what is hidden. And the other angel who went with me and showed me what was hidden told me what is first and last in heaven, in the height, and beneath the earth, in the depth, and at the ends of the heaven, and on the foundation of the heaven, and the chambers of the winds, and how the winds are divided, and how they are weighed, and how the portals of the winds are reckoned, each according to the power of the wind, and the power of the lights of the moon, and according to the power that is fitting, and the divisions of the stars according to their names, and how all the divisions are divided, and the thunders according to the places where they fall, and all the divisions that are made among the lightnings, that it may lighten, and their host, that they may at once obey. For the thunder has places of rest, which are assigned to it, while it is waiting for its peal. And the thunder and lightning are inseparable, and although not one and undivided, they both go together through the Spirit and separate not. For when the lightning lightens, the thunder utters its voice. And the Spirit enforces a pause during the peal, and divides equally between them. For the treasury of their peals is like the sand. And each one of them, as it peals, is held in with a bridle, and turned back by the power of the Spirit, and pushed forward, according to the many quarters of the earth. And the spirit of the sea is masculine and strong, and according to the might of its strength he draws it back with the rain. And in like manner it is driven forward and disperses amid all the mountains of the earth. And the spirit of the hoarfrost is his own angel, and the spirit of the hail is a good angel, and the spirit of the snow has forsaken his chambers on account of his strength. There is a special spirit therein, and that which ascends from it is like smoke, and its name is frost. And the spirit of the mist is not united with them in their chambers, but it has a special chamber, for its course is glorious both in light and in darkness, and in winter and in summer. And in its chamber is an angel. And the spirit of the dew has its dwelling at the ends of the earth, and it is connected with the chambers of the rain. And its course is in winter and summer, and its clouds and the dew of the mist are connected, and the one gives to the other. And when the spirit of the rain then goes forth from its chamber, the angels come and open the chamber and lead it out. And when it is diffused over the whole earth, it unites with the water on the earth. And whensoever it unites with the water on the earth, for the waters are for those who dwell on the earth, for they are nourishment for the earth, from the Most High, who is in heaven. Therefore there is a measure for the rain, and the angels take it in charge. And these things I say towards the garden of the righteous. And the angel of peace who was with me said to me, These two monsters, prepared conformably to the greatness of God, shall feed. And I saw in those days how long cords were given to those angels, and they took to themselves wings and flew, and they went towards the north. And I asked the angel, saying unto him, Why have those angels taken these cords and gone off? And he said to me, They have gone to measure, And the angel who went with me said unto me, These shall bring the measures of the righteous, and the ropes of the righteous to the righteous, that they may stay themselves on the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. The elect shall begin to dwell with the elect. And those are the measures which shall be given to faith, and which shall strengthen righteousness. And these measures shall reveal all the secrets of the depths of the earth, and those who have been destroyed by the desert, and those who have been devoured by the beasts, and those who have been devoured by the fish of the sea, that they may return and stay themselves on the day of the elect one. For none shall be destroyed before the Lord of spirits, and none can be destroyed. And all who dwell above in the heaven received a command and power, and one voice, and one light like unto fire. And that one, with their first words they blessed, and extolled, and lauded with wisdom. And they were
And this is when it says everybody that's died and didn't get to live a whole complete life
on the
come
throne
back.
of glory. And he
And
shall
there's
judge
1,000
all the
years.
works of the holy above in heaven. And in the balance shall their deeds be weighed.
And they have
And he
1,000
shall
years.
lift up his countenance to judge
they
their
get
secret
a
ways
chance.
according to the word of the name of the Lord of spirits. And their
And they-
path
because they
according to the
come
way
back,
of the righteous judgment
resurrect.
of the Lord of spirits.
They
shall
have a
all
chance
with
to just
one
be
voice
good
speak
for
and
1,000
bless,
years. They
and
won't
glorify
die.
and extol
At the end of
and
1,000
sanctify
years,
the name
those
of the
that do
Lord
it
of spirits.
come to heaven.
And he
That's
will
the other
summon
ones that
all
come
the
behind
hosts of the heavens,
after we
and
go.
all the holy ones above,
They're the ones that
and
live in the
host of
smaller
God,
houses. We're the elite,
cherubim,
the elects.
seraphim, and
They're the
open,
other ones.
and all the angels
So
of
there's
power,
they still
and all
live
the
with like we
angels
do,
of principalities,
but they don't
and the
have
elect
certain
ones,
things
and the other powers on the
because
earth,
they didn't.
and over the water. And on that day shall rise one voice, and bless, and glorify, and exalt in the spirit of faith, and in the spirit of wisdom, and in the spirit of patience, and in the spirit of mercy, and in the spirit of judgment and of peace, and in the spirit of goodness, and shall all say with one voice, Blessed is he, and may the name of the Lord of spirits be blessed forever and ever. And all who sleep not above in the heaven shall bless him. All the holy ones who are in heaven shall bless him, and all the elect who dwell in the garden of life. And every spirit of light who is able to bless, and glorify, and extol, and hallow thy blessed name. And all flesh shall beyond measure glorify and bless thy name forever and ever. For great is the mercy of the Lord of spirits, and he is long-suffering. In all his works, and all that he has created, he has revealed to the righteous and elect in the name of the Lord of spirits. And thus the Lord commanded the kings, and the mighty, and the exalted, and those who dwell on the earth, and said, Open your eyes, and lift up your horns if you are able to recognize the
Book
elect
one is the
one.
Book of Watchers. This
And
says
the Lord
kind
of spirits seated him on the throne of his glory. And the spirit of righteousness was poured out
why do they
upon
burn
him.
in hell
And
alive?
the word of his mouth slays all
They're
the
not, you
sinners.
can't die.
And all the unrighteous are destroyed from before his face. And there shall stand up in that day
that's
all
their
the
toward
kings and
they're
the
not
mighty
allowed to
and
die.
the exalted and those
You
who
just have to
hold
sit
the
there and
earth.
just burn.
And they shall see and recognize how he sits on the throne of his
if you
glory.
listen to this,
And righteousn't
it describes hell in the first,
and no lying word is spoken before
somewhere
him.
in the beginning.
Then shall
There's
pain
3
come
blocks.
upon them as
When
on
you
a woman
die,
in travail, and she has pain in bringing forth.
There's
when her
the
child
people that die
enters
and
the
don't
mouth
believe
of the
sit in one
womb,
block.
and she has pain in bringing forth.
People in the middle,
and one portion of them shall look on the other, and they shall be terrified.
believe.
And they shall be downcast of countenance, and pain shall seize them when they see that Son of Man
But they're
sitting
not
on the
these
throne
ones
of his
that
glory.
died for the
And the
belief.
kings
These are
and
the ones that
mighty and
believed
all
and
who
died.
possess
These are the ones
the
that
earth shall
died for the
bless
belief.
and glorify and
So
extol him who rules
everything's
over all
separated
who was
in
hidden.
degrees. If you go
For
here,
from the beginning the Son of Man was hidden,
if you
and
show
the
up
Most
down
High
there,
preserved him in the presence of his might, and revealed him to the
you'll
elect,
know
and the
where you, but
congregation
you
of the
can't
elect
see
and holy
anything
shall be sown. And all the elect shall stand before him on that day.
Well, yeah, they're dead. The ones that are dead just sit in that first block.
And those who rule the earth shall fall down before him on their faces.
If you listen to this, takes a bit. It's like that is what they make you think.
And petition him and supplicate for mercy at his hands. Nevertheless,
it takes a while to do this stuff.
Will so press them
so everybody that's dead is just sitting in these blocks right now.
And their faces
these are the ones that they say when he comes back and they rise up. That's those guys.
And he will deliver them.
And as soon as it happens, the ones here go there.
To execute vengeance.
The ones here go there. The ones here go there.
They have oppressed his
and then
children
it does it again.
His elect. And they shall be a spectacle for the righteous
another
and
stuff
for
that
his
goes
elect.
through.
They shall rejoice over them, because the wrath of the Lord of spirits resteth upon them, and his sword is drunk with their blood. And the righteous and elect shall be saved on that day.
There's different
and they shall never
descriptions of hell.
Face at the sinners and
it's
the
3 visions.
And the Lord of spirits will
and the 3 visions pertain to us.
Son of man, they shall
it pertains to the it pertains to Satan, and he separates all the angels, tells them what everybody's job is.
Shall have risen from the earth, and
then he tells you who does what. And he starts explaining how everybody's going to be separated at the end and then filled out and then judged.
From the Lord of spirits.
One big fell swoop. And then the second comes in and says, well, this happened. And it breaks it down more. And it explains, this is what's going to go on.
In those days shall the mighty and the kings who possess
when all this happens, he's already went through the 1,000 years.
A little respite from his angels of punishment, to whom they were delivered.
This is called...
fall down and worship before the Lord of spirits and confess their
this
sins
is the Book of Enoch full audio
and they shall
book.
Bless and glorify the Lord
I found
of
it
spirits
at
and say,
Kingdom of...
Blessed is the Lord of spirits, and the Lord of kings, and the Lord of the mighty, and the Lord of the rich, and the Lord of the glory, and the Lord
it is
of
called
and splendid
Kingdom
in
of David.
Secret thing is thy power
Kingdom
from
of is one
generation
word,
to generation,
and David.
And thy glory forever and ever.
That's who puts it out.
Deep are all thy secrets, and innumerable, and thy righteousness is beyond reckoning.
And they have like, you go through there, there's like stuff that people are into alien stuff. That stuff is in here too.
And they shall say,
this here is in here.
That we had
and
rest
this is,
to
they just put
glorify
all
and give
kinds of
thanks
stuff out.
and confess our faith before his glory. And now we long for a little rest, but find it not. We follow hard upon and obtain it not.
Look,
the
like,
light has vanished
so
from
this we're saying
us.
like aliens and stuff.
Is our dwelling
they're all
place
demons.
Forever and ever. For we have
they ain't
not
playing it in the beer room. Reptilians are a hoax. Not after you hear this. If you look at the people that believe down here,
but our hope
the UFO stuff like that is down here.
In our glory, and in the day of our suffering and tribulation, he saves us not. And we find
this Book of Enoch covers everything that goes on this planet
true in all his work,
right now.
And in his judgment, and in his justice.
Yeah, it's 3 hours.
Have no
and then get into a dude named Trey Smith.
Away from before his face on account of our works.
Get into a dude named Trey Smith.
Up in righteousness.
He's got all kinds of crazy shit in his about this stuff.
Are full of unrighteous gain,
and then you
does not
see even more.
From descending from the midst thereof.
And then you want to go to church and like, we need to talk.
And after that,
you have some to explain
shall be filled with darkness and shame before that Son of Man. And
everybody should
from his
have to listen to this.
And the sword shall abide before his face.
Everybody should listen to this. You don't have to, but you should listen to this.
This is the ordinance.
It'll make you ask questions
with respect to the mighty
and then
the king,
you'll know
and the
if it's something they don't want you to know about how they respond. I ask questions like this. My wife won't even let me go into a church
forms I saw
because I'll do this to
them.
them.
The voice of the angels saying,
I don't like people not telling the truth.
These are the angels who descended to the earth and revealed what was hidden to the children of men and seduced the children of men into committing sin.
This is what pastors should be
and
teaching.
In those days, Noah
stuff
saw
like
the
this.
earth, that it had sunk down,
and they don't.
And its destruction was
They don't even tell you the complete story. It's really vague. That's why it's so hard to believe.
And cried aloud to his grandfather Enoch.
This is a book. They found the rest of the books of the Bible. This is one you're not supposed to have.
Hear me! Hear me!
This is the only copy on YouTube.
And I said unto him, Tell me what it is that is falling out on the earth, and that the earth is in such evil plight. And
listen, you can't order a copy of
I shall perish with it. And thereupon there was a great commotion on the earth, and a voice was heard from heaven, and I fell on my face. And Enoch, my grandfather, came and stood by me, and said unto me, Why hast thou cried unto me with a bitter cry and weeping? And a command has gone forth from the presence of the Lord concerning those who dwell on the earth, that their ruin is accomplished because they have learnt all the secrets of the angels, and all the violence of the Satans, and all their powers, the most secret ones, and all the power of those who practice sorcery, and the power of witchcraft, and the power of those who make molten images for the whole earth, and how silver is produced from the dust of the earth, and how soft metal originates in the earth. For lead and tin are not produced from the earth like the first. It is a fountain that produces them, and an angel stands therein, and that angel is preeminent. And after that my grandfather Enoch took hold of me by the hand and raised me up, and said unto me, Go, for I have asked the Lord of spirits as touching this commotion on the earth. And he said unto me, Because of their unrighteousness, their judgment has been determined upon, and shall not be withheld by me forever, because of the sorceries which they have searched out and learnt. The earth and those who dwell upon it shall be destroyed, and these they shall have no place of repentance forever, because they have shown them what is hidden. And they are the damned. But as for thee, my son, the Lord of spirits knows that thou art pure, and guiltless of this reproach concerning the secrets. And he has destined thy name to be among the holy, and will preserve thee amongst those who dwell on the earth, and has destined thy righteous seed both for kingship and for great honors. And from thy seed shall proceed a fountain of the righteous, and holy, without number, forever. And after that, he showed me the angels of punishment, who are prepared to come and let loose all the powers of the waters which are beneath the earth, in order to bring judgment and destruction on all who abide and dwell on the earth. And the Lord of spirits gave commandment to the angels who were going forth, that they should not cause the waters to rise, but should hold them in check. For those angels were over the powers of the waters. And I went away from the presence of Enoch. And in those days the word of God came unto me, and he said unto me, Noah, thy lot has come up before me, a lot without blame, a lot of love and uprightness. And now the angels are making a wooden building, and when they have completed that task, I will place my hand upon it and preserve it, and there shall come forth from it the seed of life. And a change shall set in, so that the earth will not remain without inhabitant. And I will make fast thy seed before me forever and ever. And I will spread abroad those who dwell with thee. It shall not be unfruitful on the face of the earth, but it shall be blessed, and multiply on the earth, in the name of the Lord. And he will imprison those angels who have shown unrighteousness in that burning valley which my grandfather Enoch had formerly shown me in the west, among the mountains of gold, and silver, and iron, and soft metal and tin. And I saw that valley in which there was a great convulsion, and a convulsion of the waters. And when all this took place, from that fiery molten metal, and from the convulsion thereof in that place, there was produced a smell of sulfur, and it was connected with those waters. And that valley of the angels who had led astray mankind burned beneath that land. And through its valleys proceed streams of fire, where these angels are punished, who had led astray those who dwell upon the earth. But those waters shall in those days serve for the kings and the mighty and the exalted and those who dwell on the earth, for the healing of the body, but for the punishment of the spirit. Now their spirit is full of lust, that they may be punished in their body. For they have denied the Lord of spirits, and see their punishment daily, and yet believe not in his name. And in proportion as the burning of their bodies becomes severe, a corresponding change shall take place in their spirit forever and ever. For before the Lord of spirits none shall utter an idle word, for the judgment shall come upon them, because they believe in the lust of their body, and deny the Spirit of the Lord. And those same waters will undergo a change in those days. For when those angels are punished in these water springs shall change their temperature. And when the angels ascend, this water of the spring shall change and become cold. And I heard Michael answering and saying,
a book
This
called
judgment
Strange Stories
wherewith
and
the
Amazing
angels are
Facts.
judged is a testimony
There's a
for the
thing in there and it
kings and the mighty
describes
who
what he's
possess the
talking
earth,
about.
because these
Right,
waters
and there's a
of
picture
judgment
of two
minister
people
to the
walking
healing
on
of
a
the
lake
body
of
of the
ice.
kings and the lust
And
of
you
their
see
body. Therefore they will not see and will not believe that those waters will
frozen in the
change and
water.
become a fire which burns forever.
And they're talking, describing
And after
it. This is
that,
what
my
they
grandfather
describe.
Enoch gave me the teaching of all the secrets in the book, in the parables, which had been given to him, and he put them together for me in the words of the book of the parables. And on that day Michael answered Raphael and said, "The power of the Spirit transports and makes me to tremble because of the severity of the judgment of the secrets, the judgment of the angels. Who can endure the severe judgment which has been executed, and before which they melt away?" And Michael answered again and said to Raphael, "Who is he whose heart is not softened concerning it, and whose reins are not troubled by the word of this judgment that has gone forth upon them because of those who have thus led them out?" And it came to pass, when he stood before the Lord of spirits, Michael said thus to Raphael, "I will not take their part under the eye of the Lord, for the Lord of spirits has been angry with them, because they do as if they were the Lord. Therefore all that is hidden shall come upon them forever and ever. For neither angel nor man shall have his portion in it, but alone they have received their judgment forever and ever. And after this judgment they shall terrify and make them to tremble, because they have shown them to those who dwell on the earth. And behold the names of those angels, and these are their names. The first of them is Simjaza, the second
These are the ones that are in
Arakipa, and the third Armin, the fourth Kokabel, the fifth Tudael, the sixth Rumjal, the seventh Danjal, the eighth Nekael, the ninth Barakel, the 10th Azazel, the 11th Armonos, the 12th Batarhal, the 13th Busasehal, the 14th Hananel, the 15th Tudel, and the 16th Simapesiel, the 17th Jetrel, the 18th Tumel, the 19th Tudel, and the 20th Rumael, the 21st Azazel. And these are the chiefs of their angels, and their names, and their chief ones over hundreds, and over 50s, and over 10s. The name of the first, Jachan, that is, the one who led astray all the sons of God, and brought them down to the earth, and led them astray through the daughters of men. And the second was named Asbael. He imparted to the holy sons of God evil counsel, and led them astray so that they defiled their bodies with the daughters of men. And the third was named Gadriel. He it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death. And he led astray Eve, and showed the weapons of death to the sons of men, and the shield and the coat of mail, and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men. And from his hand they have proceeded against those who dwell on the earth from that day and forevermore. And the fourth was named Nimue. He taught the children of men the bitter and the sweet, and he taught them all the secrets of their wisdom. And he instructed mankind in writing with ink and paper, and thereby many have sinned from eternity to eternity, and until this day. For men were not created for such a purpose, to give confirmation to their good faith with pen and ink. For men were created exactly like the angels, to the intent that they should continue pure and righteous. And death, which destroys everything, could not have taken hold of them, but through this their knowledge they are perishing, and through this power it is consuming me. And the fifth was named Kazdeja. This is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smitings of spirits and demons, and the smitings of the embryo in the womb, that it may pass away, and the smitings of the soul, and the bites of the serpent, and the smitings which befall through the noontide heat. The son of the serpent named Tabaet, and this is the task of Kazbael, the chief of the oath, which he showed to the holy ones when he dwelt high above in glory, and its name is Beka. This angel requested Michael to show him the hidden name, that he might enunciate it in the oath, so that those might quake before that name and oath, who revealed all that was in secret to the children of men. And this is the power of this oath, for it is powerful and strong. And he placed this oath, Akae, in the hand of Michael. And these are the secrets of this oath, and they are strong through his oath. And the heaven was suspended before the world was created, and forever. And through it the earth was founded upon the water. And from the secret recesses of the mountains came beautiful waters, from the creation of the world and unto eternity. And through that oath the sea was created, and as its foundation he set for it the sand against the time of its anger. And it dare not pass beyond it from the creation of the world unto eternity. And through that oath are the depths made fast, and abide and stir not from their place from eternity to eternity. And through that oath the sun and moon complete their course, and deviate not from their ordinance from eternity to eternity. And through that oath the stars complete their course, and he calls them by their names, and they answer him from eternity to eternity. And in like manner the spirits of the water, and of the winds, and of all zephyrs and their paths from all the quarters of the winds. And there are preserved the voices of the thunder, and the light of the lightnings, and there are preserved the chambers of the hail, and the chambers of the...
As soon as I get up, I'll start doing this. So, thanks for stopping by. Need some sleep. And I'll fire this up tomorrow, and it'll actually say Book of Enoch. 3 hours, or whatever. Discussion. We'll see what happens. And I'll try to be nice. Y'all have a good night, or morning, or whatever.